I'm wondering about blockchain technology. So how is it related to CAASM, or if it does at all? So.
Well, I think blockchain is more of a base layer technology. So blockchain is a whole new way of looking at how you have a distributed ledger that is immutable, and you can basically use it for many different things. But most importantly is to store something that's of high value. For example, the proof that something is true is of high value generally. The proof, for example, that you own that Ferrari, it's worth at least...
That's quite important, yeah.
Exactly. It's worth at least as much as your Ferrari, plus your sentimental value, right?
Exactly.
So, of course, if you have a garage full of Ferraris, maybe you care less, but not our problem.
But still, you can lose even 10 Ferraris if you...
So when you want to basically, the more value you have, the more incentive you have to leverage the blockchain, because the blockchain is transparent, and the larger blockchains like Bitcoin is protected. Actually, Bitcoin is protected by the strongest computer network in the world. People are criticizing Bitcoin of the energy that's taking, but that energy is actually the cost of protection. Just think about, if you had something really valuable to protect, and one company told you, hey, I'm not spending any money because it's environmentally not friendly to spend money on protecting your asset, and the other said, oh, I'm actually going to spend millions of dollars on protecting your asset. Which one are you going to go with? I mean, rhetorical question,
obvious, So
we're going to go with the company that spends more energy on protecting your assets. So yes, Bitcoin uses energy, but it protects very valuable assets in a real, meaningful manner. If somebody tells you, hey, I can protect it for free, just ask yourself, isn't there a catch?
Yeah, and also if you want to protect like normal currency USD, you spend a lot of money on protecting USD, for example. So.
Exactly, if you want to look at that, basically looking at banks, they spend way more money at protecting money than Bitcoin. But the point is that on the blockchain, you can protect very effectively other type of data besides value. There is a concept called smart contracts, and with smart contracts you can define additional items that you can protect on the blockchain. One of the things that is very important in compliance is to be able to prove that the evidence that you have hasn't been tampered with. So when we collect evidence using a CAASM tool, then we can put the proof of collection of that evidence and the proof of chain of custody onto the blockchain. And the blockchain has a natural way of then preserving the chain of custody because the blockchain is immutable. And that's really an important use case for the blockchain when it comes to CAASM, when it comes to security. You can store there information that's impossible to alter after the fact.
All right. So we were talking about technology so far, but even if we have technology or a company buys a tool or something, I guess they need some very skilled IT people or person to use those tools. So I guess it can be a shortage of people who are understanding this level of security, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because at the end of the day, what we have is a ton of different technologies. I mean, just in this span of this conversation, we touched on a bunch of tools and technologies, and you're like, okay, but how am I going to get experts on each tool? So what we found is a lot of our customers basically end up outsourcing to partners that are specialized in security, in infrastructure, etc., the management of that. So it ends up being a turnkey solution. Nowadays, you tend to not just buy software, you buy software with the managed service of that software. So it tends to be security software. It's actually called managed security service. And so managed security service providers give that to you. And what's really nice that when they hire someone, they actually have a large spectrum of customers. So those experts that they hire learn a lot, they see a lot of different things, and their life is very interesting. If you were to try to hire those experts just to work for you, with you exclusively, then they end up seeing a narrower range of things.
Yeah, because they are isolated and they're focusing on your...
Yes, and so their career is maybe a little bit more dampened in what they see. So it may be even harder to retain the talent if you were trying to buy it yourself. And you're now in the competition and talent pool, and you got to ask yourself, are you able to utilize the talent 100% all of the time? Do you always have these things that happen? Do you always have incidents? Yeah, I mean, incidents will happen, but you don't have all the time incidents. Do you have threats all the time? All of these things. And so when you can outsource that to a company, you end up buying only what you need for. So when you don't have an incident, you actually don't have to pay for that guy who is an incident response handler. Or, when you have, threats, depending on the type of threats, you will have the right type of person who will jump on it. And you don't have to worry whether the guy you hired is an expert on this or that, because the MSSP will have experts on each area, and they will have seen a larger variety of things. So chances are they will actually notice what's going on before, your in-house staff could. So that's really one of the interesting things of basically leveraging outsourced providers.
Yeah, so you can scale the service what you buying from an SSP as well.
That's
easily,
absolutely right. That's one of the great advantages, that you scale it up and down depending on your needs. And if you're multinational, you can scale it up and down depending on the country that you operate in, to be aligned with what you need where you need it.